Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the briefing. I think at the outset, let me join all of you in conveying our condolences on the sad loss of life in the earthquake that has happened this morning in Balochistan. Coming to my briefing, I think this has been a pretty busy period in terms of our diplomatic activity. Just by way of a rundown, as you are aware, the foreign minister was in New York for the high-level segment of the UN General Assembly. And on way back, he also had official engagements in London. The Prime Minister's address to the General Assembly and a host of engagements and outreach by the foreign minister served well to advance Pakistan's key objectives and to share our perspective on important regional and international issues from the global platform of the United Nations. In his policy address, the Prime Minister deliberated on a range of issues that are of common interest for the international community, such as the COVID-19, the economic recovery, and climate change. And he once again alerted the international community about the dangers posed by Islamophobia that was manifested particularly in the BJP RSS-led Hindutva ideology and persecution of minorities, particularly Muslims in India. The Prime Minister also shared Pakistan's perspective on the developments in Afghanistan, the immense sacrifices and losses we have incurred over the years, our constructive role and sincere advice throughout, and the imperative of engaging Afghanistan now to ensure durable peace in that country. On Jammu and Kashmir, the Prime Minister's forceful and passionate presentation drew attention to India's egregious human rights violations in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and also evidenced by the comprehensive dossier presented by Pakistan and India's unilateral and illegal measures aimed at altering the demographic structure of the occupied territory. The Prime Minister urged the international community to shun selectivity and double standards on human rights. He spelled out our position clearly that we are desirous of peace with India, but sustainable peace in South Asia was contingent upon resolution of Jammu and Kashmir dispute in accordance with the UNSC resolutions and wishes of the Kashmiri people. The onus was on India to create a conducive environment for meaningful and result-oriented engagement with Pakistan. I think also from the perspective of Jammu and Kashmir, most significant was the ministerial meeting of the OIC contact group, which unanimously adopted a strong communique that inter alia reaffirmed OIC's solidarity and support for the legitimate struggle of Kashmiri people for realization of their inalienable right to self-determination and freedom from Indian occupation. It also demanded that India reverse all illegal and unilateral measures taken on or after 5th August 2019, immediately stop human rights violations, and halt and reverse the illegal demographic changes in the occupied territory. Let me also state that in the Foreign Minister's various interactions in New York, key messaging was on Jammu and Kashmir, Afghanistan, the importance of multilateralism to address the global challenges, and Pakistan's policy shift to geoeconomics based on peace, partnerships, and connectivity. You have also followed the Foreign Minister's engagement in the United Kingdom, and then we had the Danish Foreign Minister who was in Islamabad last week, and Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister for Political Affairs earlier this week. All of this reflective of our continuing engagement with the international community. The US Deputy Secretary of State, Wendy Sherman, is visiting Pakistan from today and tomorrow. Her visit follows the recent meeting between the two foreign ministers in New York. During the visit, views will be exchanged on all issues of mutual interest, including the bilateral relationship, as well as the regional situation. Close and regular engagement between Pakistan and the United States has always been mutually beneficial and a factor for stability in South Asia. We look forward to reinforcing a balanced Pak-US relationship that is anchored in mutually beneficial cooperation in all areas, including security, trade, investment, energy, and regional connectivity. We remain deeply concerned on the grave situation in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, where the brutality, state terrorism, war crimes, and systematic violations of human rights continue unabated by the Indian occupation forces. A young Kashmiri, Mujib Lone, was martyred during cordon and search operation in Shopian district recently. 14 innocent Kashmiris were martyred by Indian occupation forces in the month of September alone, while over 440 Kashmiris have been martyred by Indian troops since 5th August 2019. The extrajudicial killings of innocent Kashmiris and the blatant attempts to turn Muslims into a minority in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir through distribution of fake domicile certificates is another testimony of India's rapid descent into fascism. Indian illegal actions in IIOJK and the unresolved Jammu and Kashmir dispute has serious consequences in terms of threat to international peace and security and the human rights violations. We continue to sensitize the international community in this regard, utilizing all occasions, bilateral meetings, and others, including the ongoing debates in the UNGA in New York and the Human Rights Council in Geneva. Incidentally, we are also extremely concerned about the rapidly deteriorating situation of human rights and rights of minorities in India. Not only Muslims, but also Dalits, Christians, and other minorities in India today live in an environment of perpetual fear and intimidation. In an extremely disturbing incident on 3rd October, a mob of around 500 violent Hindu extremists ransacked and vandalized a Christian prayer room in Roorkee, Uttarakhand, and harassed the Sunday Mass attendees. On August 29, in an equally reprehensible incident, a right-wing Hindutva group tried to attack 3 churches in the district of Kawarda in Chhattisgarh. Targeting of Muslims also continues with complete impunity in India, aided by the highly discriminatory Citizenship Amendment Act, and the Hindutva-driven RSS-BJP combines hostility towards Muslims. The brutal eviction drive against the Muslims of Assam, which has rendered thousands of Muslims homeless, is a despicable example of this policy. Recent incidents of demolition of the ancient Bilal Mosque in Haryana and Masjid Garib Nawaz in Uttar Pradesh are glaring examples of Indian state complicity in the acts of repression against Muslims. Minorities in India are being willfully targeted by fascist Hindutva mobs on flimsy pretexts. All of this must be an eye-opener for the world. Beneath the veneer of democracy, the reality of India's today is morbid. The world must assert India's open and remorseless transgression before it's too late. It's time to stop it. I thank you, and I'm happy to take your questions.